Yo, what's good guys? Today I'm going to give you some tips on how you can improve at building. Beginner, you may see bases that look something like this. You might think, wow, they look really cool. How do I learn to build like this? You don't. Bases like this on the surface might look cool, but in reality they lack fundamentals, and in reality they probably just have a lot of flaws. I'm not going to go into in depth on what the flaws are because it's for a different video, but I'm going to name a few just so you can keep in mind when you are building for the first time. Try and keep it simple. As you can see, this base is very overbuilt. It's a circle base, but the roof, as you can see, it's very low, very high here. It kind of just makes it so like it's very holdable. If there's a fob about this tall, it kind of sees everything. Really get like the best example of an overbuilt base, but this is definitely overbuilt. See, this extends way too far. It pretty much get house. The compound's very overbuilt. All of this unnecessary stuff like this is just not needed. Stuff like that. So when you're building, this is simple. When it's your first time building, I would always recommend to stick to the basics. Go over in depth on what's meta, what's good, whatever. Just stick to the basics, and as long as you don't overbuild like the last clip that I just showed, you should be good. And then obviously make sure it's fundamentally perfect, which is going to come later on. You're not too ready for that yet, but when you're first building, also I would also recommend joining a Discord server. My Discord server, Sanctum Builds, is great, helps you all out. Console friendly as well. You can put it in base feedback page. You can just connect with other builders in general. And yeah. If you have any questions, you can type it in building questions. It's quite good for just connecting in general and learning a few things about building. Your first beginning, don't stress too much on making your bases matter. It will usually just end up being you overbuilding or adding concepts you don't even know what to do. Later on, as you learn how to build, I'm assuming you don't know how to wide gap or anything like that. Later on, as you learn how to do wide gap, stuff like that, just simple stuff, that's the stuff that you need to focus on. You don't need to focus on bunkers, because most of the times they usually ruin your base and stuff like that. I'm going to do some more videos explaining more in depth on how stuff ruins your base and what doesn't ruin your base for your group size. But I would always try and avoid stuff like a million bunkers, like loads of external TCs that don't need to be there. Just try and make your base really good for progression and, usable. You want to have good downwards. You want to have good turret pods, like perfect turret pods, which see everything sort of thing. Don't stress over little details like, oh, they might be able to climb into my compound, or there's fucking a little small thing. Just in general, work on your base, try and get it as good as you can, then submit it for feedback. Whatever feedback they give you, try your best to fix it. If you need help, that's where I come in. Shoot me over DM and I can tell you what to do to fix it. Also, I would recommend looking at a few builders on YouTube. The ones I could recommend just off the top of my head is Kurub, Lucky, me, and it's kind of it. Just off the top of my head. There's obviously some other great creators out there, but just take in mind when building, you kind of want someone to go off. You can't just wing it, because if you wing it, then you're just going to end up building something looks kind of like the first base. The base up for you right now. Okay, so we'll have a look at the lemon that I just posted. So as you can see, if someone was to blow straight for the core, it'll only be 2 walls and they'd probably get a TC. Okay. And see, the issue with this is most people think, oh, just make it an extra layer, it's not going to do much. But there's an issue with that. If I was to make this an extra layer, like honeycomb all this side in, I would have to build this wide gap out another layer here. So the compound would be very wide. The base would be more expensive. And in general, it's just going to increase the cost of the base. Instead of making your TC or however many walls you have to core, 5 or 6, 7, just make it 2. 2 is fine for most group size. If you're a bit of a bigger group, maybe make it 3 or 4, but don't honeycomb it 3 or 4 times. I'm talking in shells, like 4x4s or 3 walls because they have a shell, and then maybe it's 4 or 5 because it might have a wide gap shell and a mini china or like something like that. So just know what you're doing at least. Don't make a solo base 3 walls to core. Most of the times it's just not going to work. So it's a counteract to 5 walls to core is to have your loot hidden. You want to kind of, not hidden, but in a way that raiders will have to kind of search for it. They're not just going to come, oh, let's raid in here, let's come down here and I'm going to go straight to his core and get all the loot. No. You don't want them to do that. You want them to come down to your core, they're going to see a little bit of loot here and then they're going to be like, oh, so that can't be all of it. You want them to have to try and search. Oh, here, this is his main loot. Oh, wait, it's missing stuff. Oh, it's here. You got to try and confuse the raiders on where to blow into. You want to kind of separate your loot in certain parts of the base, and that's something that you should tell your teammates as well when playing the server. Especially, it's good for offline protection. I've been offline multiple times with my loot on 3rd floor, and half of the time they don't even raid up here. They usually go straight for core, they get whatever loot's in there, and then they don't have enough room to raid up. And they just leave it, and then they log on and seal. Simple as that. But the basics of fob protection. So, this is called fob protection. Not this example is the best way to do it, or there's no like best way to do it, but this is definitely one of the best ways to do it. Well, this is the best head glitch in my knowledge. With the frame, it could be a triangle frame. That, and then you put a window just like this. And as you can see, you're going to be peeking at the bottom part. It is incredibly hard to shoot that. Incredibly hard. And then what the fob protection does, it blocks off the top of the, like that. As you can see, it kind of blocks off the top. And then obviously you'll be tall and stuff, so like it'll be here. That blocks off the top a little bit. And it also just makes it so if there's a raid base right here, the only windows they can see is this one, and this one is only in your base waterfall, and it's a visibility window. You can see they can't really like. So say this was just a regular, you know, what you'd averagely see on a base. You can easily shoot someone and hold the shooting floor, and just imagine the whole shooting floor is filled with these windows and there's 0 fob protection. Like, a raid base is comfortably killing you out of that, and even if they're not killing you, they can still hold like your whole shooting floor. Imagine this was all windows, they can definitely just like hold that. And that's why fob protection is so good. Like, you can't hold that like this now. Some people say, oh, but you don't like shooting the raid base. No, we do like shooting the raid base, we just use our roof. These are like absolutely crucial. This is why I say you should always have some sort of peak offs, because this is what you'd be shooting your raid base out of most of the time. Yeah, you're not going to use your windows for shooting out raid base, because you can if you want to. You could have brutalist peaks, which are decently good, especially if they're tall enough, like on your roof. They're quite decent for shooting raid base if it's only a certain amount of layers high, but realistically, you just want to use these roofs that come off. You kind of want to have these on most of your shooting floors. just so you can shoot the raid base, and it's also just great because you get like really good range. And these don't necessarily have bad range. Delete it. Like from the top of here, you can see like all down there, and then from the close, this is where you're gonna shoot out of. And then this is like the actual regular one. Like this does not have bad range at all. But obviously like this is just a certain base. It's different with every base. But yeah, you definitely want to try and implement some fob protection into your rest bases if you can. If you're at that level where you think, yeah, it's time to up the game, up fob protection is probably the first step. Also, just make sure your externals, obviously you've got set externals. So this is a 4-sided base. I've only got 2 externals, and then the other 2 sides are connected to main TC, which makes it just easier to progress because you don't have to build so many external build outs. Yeah. That's just a few tips that I think may help you improve. So yeah, if you've got any more tips, please leave them down in the comments to help all the new builders out. But yeah, if you enjoyed, I'll see you.